So the U.S. government, the Biden administration, has completely subverted international law to continue to support Israel's rape gulags and its campaign of industrial child slaughter in Gaza. It has exercised no leverage whatsoever in order to enact a ceasefire and has brought the world to the brink of regional war across the Middle East. And today, beneath all the headlines about the brat summer of Kamala, the Tony Blinken regime announces that the Netzah Yehuda Battalion of the Kafir Brigade, one of the most notoriously depraved, violent, and sadistic battalions of religious nationalists recruited to serve in the Israeli military and ultra-Orthodox compelled to serve, has been remediated. It has been remediated, and the sanctions that they had announced to apply to this unit, because soldiers in this unit tortured and killed a 78-year-old Palestinian American citizen, forcing him to freeze to death, the sanctions are lifted. According to John Hudson from the Washington Post, the Israeli unit, dogged by accusations of abuses toward Palestinians and found by the State Department to have committed gross violations of human rights, will not face restrictions of U.S. funding. Blinken decided the violations have been effectively remediated. In 2022, a commander of the unit, Netzah Yehuda, was reprimanded and the platoon commander and company commander removed from their positions following the death of Omar Assad, a 78-year-old Palestinian American man who'd been detained at a West Bank checkpoint. Basically, the soldiers, we actually got this on record at the Grayzone from one of the soldiers who was present, who was an American, from a sort of little noticed Reddit post where on a Discord chat, he confessed to at least witnessing this killing and described what happened. And they just didn't like this 78-year-old guy jawing at them while they were raiding his village outside Ramallah. They took him to an empty construction site, tied him up at 5 a.m. in the bitter cold. It gets very cold in the hills around Ramallah, and just left him there to freeze to death, and he had a heart attack. And now they've gotten off scot-free.
And recall when the possibility of these sanctions was announced by Blinken. This is back, I think must have been November, December, when there's just global outrage at Israel's atrocities in Gaza, and Blinken and Biden under a lot of pressure to stop the flow of weapons. So they needed to do something performative to make it look as if they were holding Israel to account. So what did they do? They announced that they're going to impose sanctions on settlers in the West Bank and prevent them from traveling to the U.S. And that was going to be their big gesture. Of course, nothing that directly impacts the flow of weaponry to Gaza, but at least it gives the Biden administration something they can point to say they're holding Israel accountable. So now, months later, now we're in August, after more than 10 months of mass murder, and even that performative gesture, they walk back. It's just, the cynicism is just off the charts.
You can read our report or listen to the audio of this veteran of Netzah Yehuda at the Grayzone discussing, boasting of the killing of Omar Assad, discussing his fantasies of committing genocide against Palestinians in a Discord chat. He wasn't aware that he was being recorded. Who do you go to with that? Go to the ICC, go to the ICJ. What are they going to do? What's the UN going to do? The US has all the power here, and it's using its power to allow Israel to rampage. Just in, the Biden administration to provide Israel with $3.5 billion to spend on U.S. weapons and military equipment. Is that weird or brat? I'm going to say that's weird. Genocide is weird. It's certainly weird.
Yeah.
That
celebrating rape and protesting for the right to rape. That's weird. Will Maker made that joke on Twitter. It's weird.
I don't know. Everyone's just saying everything's weird now. So, except I don't think Tim Walz will call that weird.
No, they'll call. I mean, that's the country that we have all these supposedly shared values with. That's what we hear all the time from both Democrats and the GOP, that this is a country that shares our values. So I guess that includes raping prisoners and torturing and murdering innocent civilians, including Americans.
Just go tying up old men, tie up an American citizen who's 78, throw him out in the cold, and then you're remediated. Can anyone else get the remediation card from the U.S. government? Like, all those nonviolent offenders in prison, can't they just be like, I remediated my marijuana deal? Like, it's remediated. Like, how do you remediate?
Yeah.
Man, Israel must have some great lawyers. I think what they did is they just kind of, Tony Blinken and his crew did is they decided to find one particularly crazy battalion of the Israeli military, announce sanctions that they never were going to enforce, and then announce that they would be, and then quietly tell the Israelis they'll be remediated if you come to this next meeting in Doha to discuss some kind of ceasefire. That's their attempt at leverage, because they can't do an arms embargo because they need to keep the billions flowing from Haim Saban and Casey Wasserman and the other members of the Zionist billionaire class financing this campaign in which Kamala Harris, since she was coronated through the media-driven Kamala coup, has raised $325 million. I don't even think she's been nominee for a month, and $325 million. So that this is their pathetic attempt at leverage. Now there's a meeting set. I can't confirm this, but the State Department never will say how any of these crimes were remediated. Now there's a meeting set for August 15th in Doha for another round of ceasefire negotiations. We keep hearing from the State Department, oh, we're in the red zone. We're like, we just need, like, all these football metaphors. We just need to like get down there to just get it into the end zone. But for some reason, they're playing on a different field than Hamas, which is not even allowed to be at the table and keeps having its negotiators assassinated for some reason, making it a little bit hard to reach a deal.